All right, gentlemen, we are leading this episode off with a topic that we've never covered on this podcast before.
That's because it's been almost 3 years since the last season of that show was released.
Yeah, and that means this podcast was Star Wars only back then.
All true. But while that series has been on hiatus since then, some stranger things have happened to us that allow us to talk about it now.
That was a real stretch, Dad.
You just turned this entire intro segment upside down.
Oh,
why?
See, and again, you said mine was a stretch, and he does that. All right. Well, if you haven't figured it out, we're talking about the Stranger Things trailer. Plus, we'll try to figure out that ending to episode 4 of Moonlight. I'm still confused. Maybe Sam will help me with that. And celebrate an announcement regarding the production of Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is Tatooine Sons.
It's true. All of it.
What is the name of the porg on the Millennium Falcon?
Force is strong in my family.
What do you think his name is? It's a big moment.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Maybe Turbis?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Turbis? Pablo, if you're listening to this live stream, that porg's name is now Turbis. It's a good Star Wars name.
We're not done yet.
These guys recorded an awesome podcast called Tatooine Sons. Everybody was
We're not all the way caught up.
All the way caught up.
We're one episode away.
Episode behind.
So really quick. I mean, we can't really break down Halo yet because we aren't caught up with everybody else. But I'll start with you, BB Nate. Your reaction in one sentence to Halo so far?
It's fine.
It's fine, really.
I'm not like super into it yet.
Okay,
I think
all right.
that it's just really, I don't know. It hasn't grabbed me.
Okay, all right. What about you,
Yeah, I'm
Samuel?
about there with Nate. There's just no real hook to it at the moment.
There's no stakes at all.
yeah.
All right. Well, I like it. I think it's
I mean,
interesting.
it's not bad.
No, not at all.
All right. Well, we'll see. Well, welcome to Tatooine Sons, a pop culture podcast, the only fan podcast to name a canon Star Wars creature and to be endorsed by the writer-director of The Last Jedi, Rian Johnson, who we are praying will be in Anaheim at the end of May. We believe that pop culture is the mythology of our generation, that there is a story, it is written on our souls, and that these myths.
You added like 4 syllables.
My mind was thinking about the mythosaur. And that these myths speak to that story. And that is why we were talking about the trailer for season 4, part 1 of Stranger Things. That absolutely bizarre ending to episode 4 of Moonlight, which again, like I said, I'm confused by.
Same.
And a first for Star Wars live action. I am David. I am the dad.
Hi, Dad.
I am honored to be joined every week by my 2 amazing sons, Samuel the Hutt. Tell us what you're talking about.
Yeah, looks like this show has switched from moonlighting to gaslighting because I have no idea what's going on now.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
At all.
All right.
Nate?
BB Nate?
I mean, I guess Stranger Things isn't confined to Hawkins anymore.
No, it's definitely not.
You, Dad?
They didn't say that. Yeah.
What you talking about?
When the maestro asks if he can write Obi-Wan Kenobi a new theme, it doesn't matter if you're a history-making composer yourself. You let him.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to this show. If you are a first-time listener, super excited to have you here. Please follow the show on whatever podcast app that you are listening to it on. If you're a returning listener, thank you so much for coming back. We certainly do appreciate it that you subject yourselves to our silliness at least once a week. With that, sometimes twice a week, maybe. Thank you for doing that. We are excited about a new sponsor for this episode, Newsly. It's an all-in-one super audio app for iOS and Android. We're going to talk a lot more about that a little bit later in the show. So make sure you listen to that because there's an offer there. It's free and you can check it out and you'll understand.
Plus, you're already listening to stuff already.
You're already literally listening. You could be listening on Newsly right now. If you're a Newsly listener, let us know. Anyway, Friday's episode of the podcast, our interview, is going to be with Quentin Brodnack from Project Nerd. We met him. BB Nate and I met him at Pensacon. Awesome guy. We have an announcement very quickly before we get into the meat of the show. We are going to be participating in a massive Star Wars Celebration meetup on Wednesday, May 25th, 2022. And and we want to invite you to join us there and be a part of it. And it's at Biggs in Fullerton, California. And it is more than just a Star Wars Celebration meetup, more than just a Tatooine Sons podcast listeners meetup. It is Sam's 21st birthday.
Ooh, happy birthday.
So
Thank you.
That will be a lot of fun. It's actually part of the massive Bunta Eve Cantina, where they're doing Alderaan Idol. They've already been, some people have been submitting their video auditions.
You have to audition?
And they've been selected. And the first round has been set. I did not, but they're also going to be doing karaoke, which I'm thinking I may have never done karaoke.
You can do it.
If we get 30 people to show up, no. No,
not happening.
That's definitely not happening. All right. Some of the people that are going to be there, Misty Rosas. She's the performance artist for Queel in The Mandalorian season 1. And she also played Frog Lady in season 2.
Yeah.
Dominic Pace, our good friend, Gecko from The Mandalorian, is going to be there. Leilani and Ariel Shui for the Jawas from The Mandalorian. We met them at Pensacon. With that, Kevin Thompson, who played Chubway, one of the Ewoks in The Return of the Jedi.
Awesome.
Tim Donaldson, he was a Jawa in A New Hope.
Okay.
With that, Eric Walker, who played Mace Tawani in Caravan of Courage and Ewok Adventure.
Wow, that's a deep dive.
Plus, many of your favorite podcasts and Star Wars content creators are going to be there. So it's the place to be. If you're at Star Wars Celebration Anaheim
It's free
Wednesday,
to go.
you need to be there.
Just
So
go.
it starts at like 4, but it goes till like 2 in the morning. And if you're because why not, right? Where else are you going to hang out that night?
I couldn't do that.
So Biggs Fullerton, Wednesday, May 25th. There's some information of it. It will be in the show notes. All right, enough talking about what we're going to talk about. Let's talk about what we're talking about.
The trailer for Stranger Things Season 4, Volume 1, or just all of Season 4, we're not quite sure yet, is finally out, and it was a doozy. It gave us a lot to chew on and think about, and it will surely be an intense
When you have something that's
season.
monstrous and you use the phrase chew on, it throws me off, makes me uncomfortable.
That's the point.
Okay.
But it'll surely be an intense season. So let's talk about all of that.
Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Yeah, I can fly.
I'm here to fight for truth and justice in the American way.
The people in this room, which one is A, wearing a spangly outfit, and B, not of use?
There's only one God, man. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that.
That man has no limits.
That's playing the rock guitar in the underground, under the
I was
underworld.
watching the rock, the breakdown videos that I watched.
Yeah.
That's the same guy that's the new DM of the D&D group that they're in.
Oh, I thought it was Billy.
I kind of got that
I thought
vibe.
for
I
sure
thought
it
it
was
would have been
Billy.
too, but it wasn't. Billy's dead. Billy's gone.
Or
And
so we
I'm
think.
seeing.
Oh, some people think that we know people that think that Billy's like the main bad
Well,
guy.
now
I
that
don't
we have
think they'll go there.
the name of the main bad guy, though.
All
So,
right. Well,
all right, trailer rating on 1 to 10 demo bats because now we have those.
Shmuley, you go. You love bats. Anything with bats, you're going to find a way to put a bat in
Of
here.
course.
All right, Sam.
I'll give it a 9. I
Yeah.
really liked that trailer,
Okay.
like a lot. So it got me really excited for this season.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Dad?
Why am I the only person that is not excited? Not that excited about this
because you're
season.
grumpy.
I'm like a 6. I'm like
How?
I don't get it. I don't understand what's going on. Maybe I don't remember anything from
I
season
don't
3.
think you do.
So I'm just kind of like, oh yeah, Hopper's in the Soviet Union. I remember that, and that's kind of I'm lost in the trailer.
Okay.
I've watched it 3 times and I don't get it.
Well, I'm like an 8 or so. I'm really excited for this.
Okay.
But let's talk about a few things I noticed in this trailer and everything. And this is the end, or at least the beginning of the end. We are seeing
Every end has a beginning. They say that on the trailer.
I know. So
Okay.
we're seeing some last ditch efforts from characters in this war against the Upside Down. And we are finally introduced to the villain behind it all, or so we think. Vecna. Vecna is a character from D&D, actually,
Okay.
strangely enough. And he's one of the most popular and dangerous. Vecna really likes eyes for some reasons, and that might explain Creel's, Robert Englund's character, who played Freddy Krueger in
Yeah.
the original Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
Lack of eyes, who owns the weird haunted house in this
So he owns that weird haunted house.
That house. That's his house.
They're just bringing in all the 80s scary stuff.
Yes.
Where'd you get that the villain's name is Vecna?
It's all over. It was been confirmed by the Duffer Brothers and all this
so it's
stuff.
it's for sure.
Legit.
Okay.
But he was created in a campaign when D&D just started, and he's kind of evolved into this big villain for D&D. So it's
cool.
It's a big deal. So Sammy, thoughts on this villain? Do you think he's the big bad?
Yeah, I think he is. That was one of the things that I really liked about this trailer is it's like, there's the guy who's behind it all. That's been behind all the things we've been seeing for the past 3 seasons.
In the Upside Down that speaks English.
Right. Well, yeah, but that was exciting. I'm like, here it is. Here's the big bad guy. That's in charge of it all, and that's what gives it that feeling of beginning of an end to me, at least, because we have the guy behind it all. It's almost like seeing the Emperor in episode 5, just a little bit. And then probably in episode 6 or part 2 of this, he'll really come into play and finish off the
See, I totally disagree. The fact that we know who the bad guy is in this one takes a lot of the mystery out of this series for me.
This is the end.
I know,
you can't
but
have an end.
I don't want to know going into the final season that what the villain is, what his name is, what he looks like. The fun about Stranger Things is not being clear as to what.
There's going to be a lot of twists with this character.
A lot of twists is fine. For me, Stranger Things is about the mystery of what's going on behind everything, not, there's our bad guy, his name is Vecna and he's from Dungeons and Dragons, and so now we know where this series is going.
We were introduced to the villains in the other seasons before too, like the Mind Flayers and the Demogorgons and stuff too. So,
but we didn't understand where things were coming from, that there was like a big entity behind it.
Well, we're also making an assumption here that this is the big guy.
We don't know.
All.
Okay,
we really don't know. Dad, what do you think about this Vecna being all prosthetics and practical effects? This is from the makeup team of Chernobyl.
It has
the tentacles you see though, that's CGI, but the whole suit and everything from top to bottom.
I like that. I like that. Cool. Practical effects when it comes to the makeup and prosthetics people at Hollywood are some of the most gifted artists in the world, and we have, sometimes I feel like movie makers and filmmakers and even TV people have become too reliant on CGI and special effects instead of the fact that these people can make a real individual look like these things. That's one of the things that's so amazing about the Joker in the Batman is that's all prosthetics and Penguin. Those scenes that have come out, the videos come out about that. And so for that to be the case in this, I'm very excited about
the Duffer Brothers said that they wanted it to be practical because that increases the scariness of the character. Just it being so real.
I agree, because you can tell when something's CGI.
Yeah, like this is creepy.
And maybe I'm just a little bit jaded about CGI now because we've been watching so much of The Flash. But anyway,
it gets worse apparently. I've seen videos of later seasons. It gets worse.
Okay.
Dad, thoughts on the show finally coming to an end soon? And do you think this will set up a good ending for volume 2?
As much as I've been sort of lackluster and critical of the trailer so far, I am going to be there, and we're going to hopefully get a chance to binge watch the whole season or at least the first half when it comes out.
Is 4 episodes. And
there will be a celebration.
I know.
When this comes out. So we may not binge watch it until we get back, and you guys are going to be in Texas for a while. So it may be a while before we do it, but when we do it, I hope we get to watch it all. I'm excited about it. I do think it's time for them to try and wrap this thing all up. I don't think you can keep it going for much longer, but it's a lot of fun. So it's been a fun series. Honestly, when this series first premiered, I had no interest in it, and the buzz around it was so big that we decided to watch it, and I fell in love with it.
Yeah. We all did.
I'm happy we did watch it. It's a really good show.
And so I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Lots of plots and locations in this season. In past seasons, we have really only stayed in Hawkins, minus that little trip with the weird group of kids that Elle found in the second season.
That's right.
The Star Wars episode.
Yeah, it was so strange.
Like where she was using the Force and everything.
And we even stayed in a mall for a whole season last season.
That was cool.
And now we have California, Hawkins, and even Russia. And that's all we know of right now. Dad, What do you think about the wide range this penultimate season is going for?
You got to use the word penultimate.
I used it a couple times, yeah.
I do think that all roads lead to Hawkins. And in this trailer, it felt like all roads lead to Hawkins.
It's the Tatooine of this story, if you think about it. Everything hinges on Hawkins.
There's something there, that's for sure. Sam, what do you think is going to happen to Hopper and his time in Russia?
Yeah, I'm not so sure. That storyline's still a bit weird for me. It almost feels like they threw it in just to say, oh, well, we don't want to get rid of Hopper. I know that's not what they're doing or what they've done, but that's almost what it feels like. I'm sure that they will bring it in. Obviously, it's still tying into the Upside Down. We saw some Demogorgon
gladiator battle
fight pit, because we know Russia's doing experiments trying to understand the Upside Down too, so I'm sure that there will be a plot there or will be some significance, but I couldn't guess what that would be at this point.
I'm not.
He's looking more and more like the like his character from
Red Guardian.
That's it.
he really does.
Boy, if this turns into be an MCU crossover, that would be the coolest thing ever. You brought up something earlier when we were just talking earlier today about this trailer, about the theory on New Rockstars, about this is a Soviet plot to try to destroy.
Series has been.
That's what Eric Voss over at New Rockstars.
New Rockstars.
So basically, his theory is that this whole series has been the Soviet Union created the Upside Down,
or harness the Upside Down,
all this as a way to defeat the United States
in the Cold
War. I love
like
that idea.
I don't know. I want there to be that this world is trying to attack our world, not a military battle. I really want the good old supernatural stuff with Stranger Things is what was so intriguing about it in the first place. And then you just make it this military war. Feels like a really bad cop-out.
It's a very generational idea. Dad grew up during the Red Scare and stuff, so he wants Russia to be the big bad guy. You like the grander story.
I do.
I'm over here like I'm cool with either one of those.
I'm okay. I would love to see how this show goes with that. And Eric Voss brought up an amazing point that this season is set in 1986, the year that Chernobyl went off. So that is a big thing. That could be a big deal. And I don't mind. Whatever the Duffer Brothers come up with, I know that they will execute great in this last season because they're very passionate with ending this story right.
What if they destroy the Upside Down by melting down Chernobyl?
Little Easter egg. The people that did the makeup for this season also did the makeup for the Chernobyl HBO series. Yeah.
I've heard a lot about that series.
That is... this is a good thing to point out. The scare factor is at a 10 this season. They're going all out this season to scare us. And I think it'll work. We do see Vecna and he looks absolutely terrifying. And we see a young Elle in the Hawkins lab leading some kind of massacre towards the doctors and maybe others.
Do you think that is additional footage that they cut from one of the early seasons?
No, actually the Duffer Brothers confirmed that was de-aged.
At some pretty good stuff right there.
Really good de-aging.
Because it looks just like she did in the first season.
And so we've heard about this before. Well, at least we think we have a mention of the Hawkins massacre. So this might be that, honestly. And we do see in the wall either it's a cracked tile or it's a rift to the Upside Down. Wow. So there is a lot that's going on. And Sam, what do you think of the Duffer Brothers holding nothing back this season?
I'm all for it. I want it to be the epic, scary finale to this series. If you think about it, just as much as the actors have aged with this series so far, so has the audience to an extent too. I mean, when did this first come out? We were
in California.
So that was good. How many years ago was that? 5 years ago. So we were a bit younger. Now it's 5 years later. We want a more intense show. So I think they can handle that. Yeah. Granted, they can't go full on TV 14. Well, it'll be TV 14, but TVMA and stuff, because there are still families watching this. It is ultimately a family show.
And that leads really good into my next question. Dad, do you think this choice will drive some viewers away from it, since it did kind of start out as a show that tweens or even younger would get into?
I don't. And I think it's because if you're 10, 11, 12 right now, I don't know if you're into Stranger Things. I think that it's like what happened with Rebels. Rebels was a very child driven younger audience-driven show, Star Wars Rebels, and it became something much more mature and sophisticated as the audience grew up. The same thing was said about the Clone Wars over the 6-7 seasons with that.
And I can attest to it with Young Justice. That started out as a kid's show, and now it's full on TV 14 on HBO Max, and it's grown up in 10 years.
There's this apparently there's this methodology that's being used now in these series where they want to grab these younger viewers and then age the show with them, which is what I think is happening with this. People that were 12, 13 when this show came out are now 16, 17, 18 years old. And I think that they're prepared for a big show like this. You're not going to see, like we think about the Davidsons because they're super excited about this. You're not going to see Jet watching this show.
No, never.
But Jay and Stuart are watching it, and I'll be curious to see where Jack falls.
Yeah,
on that,
because this is something. I mean, Jack's kind of in that in between stage, just like how we do it with the 3 generations. Like we were just talking about the Cold War and everything. It's different to see these different opinions, and he didn't grow up in the time where he would have been watching season 1 and season 2 when they came out. So it's going to be really interesting. Yep. Last question: how do y'all think this season will play out, and how do you think that this series will end?
I have no clue.
Every season has kind of. It's twisted in a way we haven't expected before. That is one thing that Stranger Things has done very well and very consistently. So I can't say, obviously this first part's going to leave us on a massive cliffhanger 100%. Of some sort. You're just going to get that. Which is another reason why I actually appreciate that they're breaking the season up. They're shorter, but it kind of stops that whole binge watching thing. And everybody's still left on a cliffhanger at the same time. So there's no spoilers for everybody. So I like that. But as how to play out, I don't know. I think you're going to get a end of episode 6 of Star Wars or end of episode 9 moment where they do fully defeat the bad guys, or maybe not quite, like in episode 6. And there's a big celebration. Now, there might be some sacrifices along the way. I have a feeling a main character will actually die.
There's a lot of ones. I think that I think Scott is his name. They think he's going to die.
Yeah, something like that. But ultimately, I think it's going to be a good end to the series.
I hope that each season has connected to events in the previous seasons, but they've all felt like their own stories.
Yeah,
to a large extent. I hope that by the end of this series, the end of this season, that it's this almost Filoni-esque connection where all these things that seemed like they were just loosely connected come together in a really, really sophisticated way. And I love, you were talking about this, Sam. I love the fact that they're giving us the first half of the season and then they're giving us a window of a couple of months, 3 months, whatever. It's like May to July or something.
Yes.
So it's like 2-3 months.
I think it's actually June is when the next
we get an opportunity as content creators, podcasts, fans to
speculate,
talk about it, speculate at. That's one of the things you've never gotten with these Netflix series. They drop an entire season and then you have to talk about the entire season. We're going to be able to be in the middle of this season with a big cliffhanger, hopefully, and a lot of conversation and speculation and headcanon, which will just make it a disaster when it actually comes out because the headcanon will screw everybody. Speculate responsibly, folks.
Of course.
So.
But after waiting for 3 years, I can finally say I am super excited for the penultimate season. There you go. Of Stranger Things. Volume 1 comes out May 27th on Netflix. And just to clarify things, a lot of people think that there's a season 5 coming out from a lot of clickbait things. There's not a season 5 coming out. This is season 4, volume 1, and the show is ending with volume 2. So just clarifying that.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Some time for some bad news. Apparently, Rose is returning to Star Wars.
Okay.
What?
Oscar Isaac has rejected Disney for Universal.
Didn't we just talk about that?
No. And the mighty Thor shouldn't be worthy to wield Mjolnir.
Huh.
That's all next on Bad News.
This is not going to go the way you think.
All right, gentlemen, let's talk about Newsly for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, all right. Let's do it.
All right, so if you're listening and you don't know what Newsly is, I'll explain. It's an all-in-one audio super app for both iOS and Android. And what it does is it picks up web articles about the most trending topics on the web at any given moment, and then it reads them to you in a natural human voice. And so what that means is that really for the first time in the history of the internet, the entire web becomes listenable all in one place.
Yeah, I mean, you're able to browse articles from topics you choose and then start playing. So you can stop scrolling and start listening. You can do other things throughout your day. And you can also follow any topic as specific as you'd like, from sports to science to even Bitcoin, or even the best stuff like Star Wars, Marvel, DC whatever.
Especially.
DC. Star Wars.
Lord of the Rings. But it'll find you the latest articles on those topics and read them to you out loud.
And they have great podcasts on there.
They have amazing podcasts on there.
Explore the trending podcasts from over 80 countries, and Tatooine Sons is now on there too. So
I think they're pretty cool.
Have digital radio.
Yeah, Tatooine Sons is one of the featured podcasts on Newsly. And
it's definitely worth listening to.
Which is another reason why it has become my default podcast app. You can try it out too, though. We want you to check it out. So download and use Newsly for free now from www.newsly.me, or just go to the link in the description and use the promo code. It's Tatooine Sons, but it's spelled different. So it's TAT001NES0NS.
Just look in the show notes.
Just look in the show notes and copy and paste it. Then go to newsly.me and use it, because all of that effort will mean you will get 1 month free premium subscription. And then when you do that, let us know and tell us what you think.
Well, you want the bad news or the really bad news?
All right. Rose Tico actress Star Wars Return has been confirmed.
What? Oh, what? I haven't heard about this.
I put Episcream as I typed it wrong.
It's because it makes us want to.
It does. It's epicstream.com. They posted a headline on Facebook last week that was highly inflammatory, designed to work up the fandom menace into a lather. Oh, they are. Yeah, absolutely. Get ready for when Ryan Johnson shows up at Celebration. Anyway, the headline suggests that Rose Tico's story is continuing in some type of live action series or film, but the article is only about the announcement that the actress who plays the character, the lovely and brilliant Kelly Marie Tran, will be attending Star Wars Celebration Anaheim as a guest.
I knew this was going to happen when I heard that announcement.
Absolutely. 100%. I'd be thrilled to see her story continue as Rose, but this headline serves no greater purpose than to stir up controversy, and so I'm giving it a clickbait level 10.
That's messed up.
All right, Shmuley.
Yeah. Marvel makes no sense. Fans are stunned by Chris Hemsworth's Thor replacement.
Oh, wow.
Literally no one that follows the long-running Thor comic series or has any knowledge at all about what has been reported regarding the plot of Thor Love and Thunder was surprised to see Jane Foster appear in the trailer released last week, wearing her own version of Thor's iconic helmet and armor while wielding Mjolnir.
Yeah.
But that isn't
made perfect sense.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised. But that isn't going to stop Inside the Magic from finding a way to accuse Marvel and Disney of some woke agenda or from story inconsistencies. Of course, Jane Foster became Thor in the comics all the way back in 2014.
And nobody's really cared about it. And it's not been that big a deal, has it?
No, and that story is one that's actually been well received. So this is another attempt to stir up controversy where there is none. It gets a clickbait level of 9.
Wow. Yes, this next one, huge news. Marvel's Oscar Isaac ditches Disney for Universal Studios.
Oh my gosh, this story, I got to hear this.
I know. Oscar Isaac just visited Universal Studios in Orlando. That's literally the whole story.
You're kidding.
That's it.
That
was it. That warranted a whole article. Inside the Magic reported that Oscar Isaac was leaving Disney for.
But that headline suggesting that he was like quitting Disney to go to Universal Studios.
Wow.
He just went to Universal Studios Orlando.
Clickbait level 10?
23?
That's low. That was one of the worst ones we've covered on this.
It was bad.
That's really bad.
All right, Sam.
Oh, geez. All right. Well, to say this latest episode of Moonlight, speaking of Oscar Isaac, was a lot, that would be a gross understatement. From Indiana Jones style
you can't use your own words. You wrote this.
Yeah,
you can write this stuff, but you can't say it.
From Indiana Jones style explorations to orcs to...
You just threw those orcs in because you wanted to.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's my intro. But to whatever that final scene was, we'll talk about it all next.
Be on your guard. There are older and
fouler things than orcs in the deep places of the world.
All right, then, keep your secrets.
You're coming to us. Is as the footsteps of doom.
There are many magic rings in this world, Bilbo Baggins, and none of them should be used lightly.
So many people, so many actors have played one superhero in a terrible superhero movie and then come back and played an amazing character later. You got Chris Evans,
yeah,
Torch, and then obviously Captain America. What are some of the others that we've seen? Ryan Reynolds, Green Lantern, Deadpool.
Ben Affleck.
Daredevil.
Who's the guy, Black Panther? He was also Human Torch. And then came back. Michael?
No, he wasn't Sam.
Chadwick Boseman was not.
Not Chadwick.
Oh, no. He was in Black Panther.
Right, that's what I was meaning. Yeah, Killmonger.
Killmonger, yeah. Michael B. Jordan.
That guy. Yeah.
It's the same thing with Oscar Isaac, if you think about it. Because Apocalypse was terrible.
It was not good.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, before we go any further, let's get y'all's rating of this episode on a scale of 1 to 10. Organ jars.
Okay. I'm gonna have to give this a 9. I really love this episode. It was a lot of fun. The ending was great. It moved the plot forward a lot to the next point of this, setting up the really good final act. Of course, we had the second act tragedy happen, so we're gonna lead into the good
point.
The good ending for this. It's been an amazing origin story so far, and this is going to be the spark that finally lights what Moon Knight's gonna be in the MCU. So I'm super excited to see what goes on here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give it 7.5.
Oh, okay.
It was good. I mean, every episode has been good, but the ending. No, I'm not just grumpy. No, I mean maybe a little bit. But the ending was was bizarre. I think everything leading up to the ending was sort of predictable for me in this episode, and then the last 5 minutes of this thing were just like amazing.
Yeah,
with it. So it was good. What would you give it?
I'll give it an 8.5. I thought it was a lot of fun throughout. And then, like you said, that end scene is really what set this episode apart from.
So you thought that the weird mummy corpse thing was going to show up, Dad? You expected that?
The weird mummy corpse thing? No.
Yeah. Speaking of, that was pretty freaky. I mean, that was arguably one of the most, if not the most intense scene we've gotten in something Marvel before.
Oh, absolutely.
With that guy getting dissected on the table. Nate, you kind of brought this up, but what were your thoughts on this scene? Did you like it? Did you not like it?
I thought that it fit this series very well. I think that this is going to set the tone of who Moon Knight is. And then, I mean, a lot of people aren't thinking about this. We are seeing Moon Knight again before the end of this year at the Halloween special Werewolf by Night.
Right.
So,
well, you predict that. We haven't had it confirmed.
He was introduced in that comic series. He's a big part of it. He's going to make an appearance. He has to. But I think that this is a good way of showing who his character is. Yes, it was the most intense scene we've gotten in the MCU. I don't even think you can say that was bordering on horror. That was really scary for this.
Yeah.
And so I think that was kind of getting people ready for what Doctor Strange 2 is going to be, because we have gotten reports from multiple people saying that this is going to be the first horror movie set in the MCU. And with Sam Raimi as the director, I'm not surprised. So I'm excited to see how this plays out. I'm sure it fit the series so well. And so I liked it. I thought that it worked really well, and it made this episode super intense, but it also had some fun moments with Steven reacting to it. So it worked really well.
It was fun to watch. I mean, this show has moments
fun to watch Mom watch it.
It was. Yes, that is absolutely true. It was fun for me to watch this because it does remind me of the same experience that I had when I was a little kid watching Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which was crazy.
That is
intense.
Yeah.
I remember watching should have been rated R.
I remember watching that when
that
I was
little. Really.
But there's that feel. This has got, the archaeology element within this has that Indiana Jones feel, and it felt like Temple of Doom with it. So I appreciated that, and it was fun to watch Mom cringe a little bit, a lot. So,
I mean, I think I'm going to, based on your answers, know the answer to this one. But is this sort of thing all right for Marvel? I mean, it is a family franchise if you think about it. After all,
yeah, it's a family franchise, but it's not a child franchise.
Okay.
It's 11, 12-year-old and above franchise. It should be with this. I mean, that'll change to some extent when Miss Marvel comes out.
That's true.
Miss Marvel is supposed to appeal towards that younger audience. It is the only PG, but everything else has been PG-13 or TV-14.
That's true.
And so if we're going to follow those rules as being the way that they're rated, then this is okay. There wasn't anything in there that these kids haven't seen on other shows and other things that were in the same rating. And it makes it fun for this. So I was fine with that.
Yeah, I thought that it worked well. And I think that the humor that they added into it kept it MCU. If it was just that would have been really intense. So the comedic relief was good. And so I'm super excited to see where they go.
Do you guys think this will be contained to this series or go into the larger universe? I mean, we do know that a Deadpool movie is coming, right? Hasn't that been confirmed? Or
Deadpool 3?
Yeah. And then we're going to probably be getting more Daredevil and stuff too. So what do you guys think about that?
I think that this, were you talking like the more kind of adultish content?
Just more intense,
more edgy.
I guess that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do think that this will start branching out. And like we were talking about in the last segment, the MCU has been growing up with its audience.
That's a good point.
It's starting to get darker. I mean, we take Endgame. That was really serious with the sacrifice at the end. It was very emotional. And then now
Don't remind me.
Now we're getting the Daredevil series. Well, at least Echo. That's going to be pretty dark. We know that. So I'm super excited to see how they branch this out. We know Doctor Strange 2 is going to be like that, but I'm not sure that we're going to be getting, I mean, we're getting Blade. That's going to still be PG-13 though. We know that. So
I don't think you'll ever get rated R.
No, I don't think so.
I don't even think with Deadpool 3 we will.
I don't either. No, I think
especially with the director.
They'll back it off just enough to keep it into that PG-13 rating. You're going to see two things happen with these movies. You're going to see the violence and the darkness amp up and push the limit like you did in Batman.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see that happening in Marvel, but you'll also see the comedic stuff and the humor stuff and the language stuff, and even the level of gore that you've got in the Daredevil stuff. That's going to get back down. And then the Ryan Reynolds, language and sexual humor stuff get toned down enough to be able to pull everything into this kind of this sweet spot of PG-13, TV-14, because that's
where the money is.
That's where the money is.
Yeah.
I mean, not to go off track here, but I see news articles come out today talking about, bad weekend for the movie theaters with Northman and Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Both of those were rated R movies. You can't expect massive blockbusters from rated R.
No.
They're rare to see that.
Like Joker was the first one to pass $1 billion.
Exactly. And even Deadpool, it had a very, an extensive audience. It made a lot of money, but we didn't see it. We haven't seen a single Deadpool movie because we know what the humor is in those. So,
yeah. Another big moment in this episode is we find out who killed Layla's father, which, why does it happen so much in stories? You've got, Star Wars and Princess Bride, but
it's a trope, it's an easy plot device.
Yeah.
So.
But, Arthur, encounters Layla and explains, Mark killed your father. And obviously that kind of hits her pretty hard because he's been hinting throughout the series that he's hiding something from her. Eventually she finds Mark and starts grilling him like, why did you kill my father? And he explains he didn't kill him, but he also didn't exactly stop it either.
Well, he couldn't. He couldn't stop it.
He didn't try either.
That. He had no chance. He was killed too. He was shot, and then that's when Khonshu revived him and used him as avatar. He said that in the episode. He said, I should have died that day too, but he didn't. So I think that's what we're seeing here. He couldn't have stopped it at that point. So I think that Layla just overreacted.
No, I don't think Layla overreacted. I think that, and we'll talk about this in the dad moment in just a minute, but the reality is it's the secrecy of it that causes the weight of the revelation to be so significant in this moment. And, and, you've got Haro, teasing it throughout this, and that creates this thing in her head, with it. But it is a trope, and so it helps move the plot forward. It's something that was in the comics, wasn't it? This was part of Moonlight comics. I think when we were setting it up,
I don't remember hearing it.
I thought it was. It didn't. Okay. When I was watching this episode,
it didn't surprise you.
I was kind of like, yeah, I remember that.
Oh,
the way I felt about it. I mean, I could be wrong.
I knew that Mark was a mercenary, and he was on a mission in Egypt, and his friend shot him and left him for dead, and that's when Khonshu found him. But I didn't know. I haven't heard anything.
I think that was a later revelation in the stories in the comics.
Maybe.
Maybe.
But why do you think Mark hid it for so long? Because he said he tried to tell her multiple times, but he just
how do you tell the woman that you're in love with that you were present when her dad was dead, and it was your partner that did it?
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a little difficult. And I don't think Khonshu helped in that case, because I'm sure that it was a lot of decisions between him and if he should do that or not, and if it would be even a good idea it was a difficult choice.
Yeah. Where do you think that those two go from there? I mean, if they ever...
Well, I think that Steven and Layla have a great future.
Yeah, I agree. Steven's like scented this episode.
That's gotta be like, how does that work?
Yeah, that is.
Is that like
weird.
dating? Like one? No, I'm not gonna make that joke. I'm not gonna go there.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if it'll work, but
it could come off very wrong.
Right.
Okay. Let's
move on.
But let's go ahead and just. Let's just talk about what everybody's talking about from this episode.
The hippo?
Yes,
hippo.
but specifically that entire crazy, weird end scene.
I loved this scene so much.
Yeah?
Oh my gosh. We were sitting there and I was like, no way that he just shot Mark. And then they just switched the aspect ratio, and it's this weird adventure movie talking about things that we've seen in the series. And the main guy is Stephen Grant. Yeah. And I'm sitting here laughing because I'm not sure what is going on. Right. And then he's in a mental institute, and Layla's another patient, and Mark is the patient,
and he's got a
Moonlight action figure, and so many things.
And he's chained to his wheelchair, and he falls down.
And Arthur Harrow's the guy running it, and it's in that room in the compound.
It's so weird, and everything is just bleach white.
Yeah,
like the Moon Knight stuff. And it is crazy. I was just sitting here smiling. I was laughing. I was having so much fun with this storyline because I was right there with Mark, and that's something this series has done so well, make us confused as much as the main character, and they did it perfectly. And again, this is a testament to Oscar Isaac's acting in this show. It's been top tier to this point, and it was stunning in this final scene. He did an amazing job.
So what do you guys think's happening right now? Do you have any sort of guess?
Maybe his brain's last ditch effort, or maybe Khonshu's last ditch effort to save him or keep him alive, or maybe, I don't know. It's really weird because we saw him falling in that pit way farther than that pit should go.
Right.
So I don't know. It was really weird.
Yeah, I do think that this is like a moment where he's like passing between death and life, and his mind is trying to process everything that's going on. At first, I wondered if everything that had happened previously was actually a delusion.
Nate, when that happened, I was thinking the same thing as you there, and it reminded me, there was this, you had told me about this Batman comic that had a similar
Last
premise.
Night on Earth.
Explain.
It's a Scott Snyder comic that wraps up his whole storylines of everything he did for Batman, and he's Batman and everything, and it's fine. But then he goes back to Crime Alley and finds a young Bruce Wayne right there. It's really weird and trippy, and the young Bruce Wayne shoots him, and he wakes up in Arkham Asylum as a patient, and all of these doctors are his villains. You know, you have his main doctor who was working on him the whole time was Dr. Joe Kerr. And all of this stuff, and you're wondering what is going on, and you're sitting here like,
sounds like an amazing
Alfred
story.
Walks in, and he's like, Bruce, you shot your parents and all this stuff. And he's like explaining to him all this stuff. And
so that's what it felt like was going on in this, with it. I don't think that's the case. I think that it's his mind trying to save him.
I agree.
Or help him wake up or something like that.
Yeah, some of the latter events.
When he started seeing those personality, like when both Mark and Steven were together again, then I'm like, okay, something more is going on here.
Yeah.
He's not just some crazy guy in some insane asylum.
Yeah. Speaking of, was that the third personality in the sarcophagus? That other sarcophagus?
I know that you just brought up sarcophagus, and I just had a big old theory. And because I was thinking back to the first episode when we were when Steven was explaining the sarcophagus to the little girl, who was stuffing trash into the pyramid and everything. And I've been thinking about this every episode of why she was like, "How did it feel when you were judged?" And I'm wondering what that is. And I'm like, was that little girl an avatar for one of these gods or something? So I'm wondering if that's going to be brought in this next episode, because that's a huge deal. And I'm wondering if it's the one that was at the end here. Yeah. I'm wondering if that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay. No, I think that the third person, is that what you're asking? Who's in the sarcophagus?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the third being. It's Jake, is what we assume it is. But but it's the third personality that's we have been speculating about throughout the series. So.
And they made a choice to walk past it, which is really strange and curious.
Yeah. They don't want to acknowledge.
They don't want to acknowledge that personality's there.
They're scared of him as much as he wants to get out. So.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, and it's kind of blown up on the internet. But who's the Hippo Goddess thing? Like,
I don't know. I'm just glad we got the Hippo Goddess. So
I some articles have come out, and the goddess that it's based off of is Taweret. I think I'm saying it right. And in Egyptian mythology, she is the god of reproduction and childbirth. I can't really think of any way that connects to the plot unless Layla's like pregnant or something.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
That'd be weird. Which could be
but
possible.
I don't know if that's possible because it's not been. They've been apart too long, and I don't think that they would bring it.
I don't think they've.
Like she had an affair or something like that.
And I don't think they've.
I think that
unless that's why she's so desperate to get the divorce papers signed, is because she's been with somebody else.
Ooh, maybe she's got a secret too.
They won't go there. I don't think that they would. That doesn't make any sense. But I think that this Hippo Goddess thing, Taweret, is going to help Mark and Steven get out of that place because she understands what they're going through. But the one thing that was so surprising about it was how normal of a voice she had. None of the other gods have had normal voices. Khonshu is this deep, booming, reverberating voice, and hers was just hello. It was really weird.
And it always makes me want to go
What if that's how? Because Steven's like super into mythology, right? Egyptian mythology. What if that's how he like sees his mom or something, and that's his like projection of her?
Because we haven't met the mother yet,
right? So that's his personification of his mother is Taweret or something.
That would be.
I'd love that.
That'd be great.
Oh man!
All right. Well, I think we should probably, on that really strange note, go ahead and have our dad moment.
I am your father.
All right, so the secret that Mark has been keeping from Layla, which we have to remember Layla's his wife, is a really big one. He knew that it was going to be devastating when Layla found out about it. How could it not be? Yeah. But the buildup over the past several episodes is what's made it worse for her. Harrow knows the secret. He's been using it to divide Mark and Layla. And by the time it's revealed, things are ready within her to kind of blow up. And that's the important lesson in this. Bad news. And when I say that, I'm talking about the real kind, not the fake stuff that we make fun of on the show, is hard to face, but it's worse when we hide it from the people we love. Getting those secrets out in the open is the only way that they can be dealt with, and hiding them only makes them worse.
Yeah.
So...
Well, there are only 2 episodes left in this series, meaning tomorrow's episode is the penultimate episode.
No, you can't use that word. It's not. The penultimate is the final one.
No, penultimate is the episode before the final one.
Is that what that means?
Yeah, that's what penultimate means.
That's why I said it.
Never mind, it's a penultimate.
It's the penultimate episode. And there's quite a lot to wrap up. So be sure to see how Mark gets out of whatever that situation is that he's in right now.
That's going to be nuts. All right. We got movie moments.
We do.
Yeah. Nobody knows it, but there's a new Liam Neeson movie coming out Friday. Don't worry, you don't need to see the trailer. It's like all his other movies. We'll talk about that and more news from the cinema next on Movie Moments.
At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have revenge.
One new release this weekend, Memory. It's about Alex Lewis, a hired assassin at a turning point, living in El Paso, Texas.
Down in the West Texas town of El Paso, I fell in love with the Mexican girl. Sorry.
You can keep going.
No, I don't remember anymore.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we're not editing that.
And he's coming to grips.
It's my audition for Alderaan.
Okay. He's actually coming to grips with a faltering memory just as he plans to retire. Alex is ready to conclude a long career of violence and secrecy when an old contact gives him a final assignment.
Dun, dun, dun.
However, the job isn't what Alex bargained for and leads him into an FBI
So this
sting
little
operation.
synopsis is the entire movie they're telling you. Okay.
Led by Agent Vincent Serra, when Alex finds a trail of abuse leading from a child prostitution ring south of the border to a wealthy, influential El Paso real estate
magnate.
Yeah. And her son, Alex, secretly guides Sarah's FBI team in the right direction. Though his inability to remember details is putting him in ever greater danger, Alex uses the skills he's owned from a lifetime in the shadows to force ugliness into the light. But he has to do it before powerful forces destroy Alex and erase Sarah's mission to get at the truth.
Dun, dun, dun.
The director is Martin Campbell. He's done other things I've heard of. I just don't remember them off the top of my head. The cast is Liam Neeson, Guy Pearce, and Monica Bellucci. I think I got that right. And the studio is Open Road. It is rated R for violence.
She's Persephone and
bloody
in
images
Matrix.
and language throughout.
By the way.
I can't remember who Persephone is.
Are we going?
No.
Okay.
No.
I didn't even know this movie was coming out until I started.
I saw a trailer for it and I'm just like, this is just Nobody mixed with Memento, and I'd just rather watch those movies separate.
All right.
Yeah.
Moving along.
For trailers this week, we had Lightyear trailer 2. I watched some of the trailer.
It's okay.
I didn't.
My frustration. What are your thoughts on this movie so far coming? When you watch the trailer,
it was.
I mean, I'm excited to see it just because it is geared towards my generation. Let's just be real honest here. I didn't even know a second trailer came out, actually.
Yeah, it just came out.
I need to watch that. But from the first trailer, I was pretty excited. I'm pretty excited for the series.
I'm more of an Up guy myself for Pixar. Like, Up is my favorite animated.
I just feel like this movie doesn't know what it is.
I think it knows exactly what it is. I think it does. I just don't know if they're going to be able to execute it right. And I don't know if it's the right time to make this movie. Toy Story should have ended at 3. Then they made 4.
In our opinion.
And it feels like we're getting to the point where we're like, okay, this series should be left. And I understand that they're trying to make this a big deal, but I just don't think it'll work. For box office results this weekend, The Bad Guys, surprisingly, leads the way with 24 million domestic, 87 million worldwide. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is still running strong with 15 million domestic, 287 million worldwide. And Secrets of Dumbledore has already had a significant drop in its second weekend under Sonic the Hedgehog 2 with 14 million domestic, 280 million
Yeah, let's have a moment of silence for the Wizarding World series because it's gone.
Yeah.
Anyway,
this was a nail in the coffin.
Yeah, but literally. Okay. Good job, Nate, guys.
Good job, Nate.
You guys have knocked out a good segment, so now I guess I got to try to pretend to be good.
Good luck.
Okay. The marketing for Obi-Wan Kenobi is beginning to trickle out. I was hoping it would pick up a little bit more over the weekend. It didn't. So I'd have a little bit more to talk about. But actually, I'm excited about this one because we're just starting to see more promotion images. But Vanity Fair published an article last week that revealed the composer of the series will be Natalie Holt. And she is the first woman to score a Star Wars live action property.
Oh, wow.
So who is Natalie Holt and what can we expect from her music?
Hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
Rebellions are built on hope.
Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
If you live long enough, you see the same eyes in different people.
I saw the thing you sent us about Ewan McGregor talking about fighting Vader.
Yeah, I can't read it because he curses like 3 times in it, but he's basically scared to death.
Yeah.
When Vader came up behind him in the scene and he turns around to battle him and he's...
Have we seen Ewan McGregor fight like Vader?
No.
Like with the suit? Oh,
Ewan McGregor has never done it. We've seen old Ben Kenobi in the original Star Wars movie.
And Hayden hasn't put on the suit for more than 2 scenes in the original.
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith.
That's so cool.
It's both exciting for both of them.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about some of the music that's coming up. And I guess the question that a lot of people were asking after this Vanity Fair article was, who is Natalie Holt? Well, she's her most notable credit, I guess, is as composer for the Marvel Loki series. And in addition to the Kenobi series coming out, obviously, which she's composing, she's also writing the music for Batgirl, which is currently expected to release in December. And there's rumors now that they're moving it to the theater because of the success of Batman with that. Wow. And you're both big time movie soundtrack nerds. When you guys listen to the Loki theme, what other film composers come to mind?
It's really hard to pinpoint one because she has a very unique style. It's very different, electronic in some ways, but she uses some instruments and changes the way that they sound to get across what she wants to in the themes. She reminds me a lot of Ludwig and Göransson. He's fantastic and does a lot of this stuff too. Reminds me of Hans Zimmer with his Dune soundtrack, especially, and how we completely changed. And he even came out in an interview and said he had to make new sounds for that soundtrack. So yeah, it reminds me a lot of that, and I cannot wait to see what she does with a Star Wars soundtrack, and it's super exciting. She's going to do a great job.
Yeah, you sent us one of the tracks from the Loki soundtrack for us to listen to, so we can be familiar with her work. And what's funny is that track comes on my music regularly before then. Okay. So I was already familiar with her work, but I hadn't connected the name yet. But I'm kind of with Nate. She is unique enough in her style to where you can't really pinpoint it. But Nathan, I was literally thinking about it, and he hit the 2 composers. If I were to mix Ludwig and Hans, I think that's about as close as you get. Maybe throw in a little Michael.
I don't think the Michael,
but not really.
Yeah.
Michael Giacchino.
Giacchino, yeah. But she mixes the orchestral with the sweeping electronic sounds too, and I'm sure that won't be the case with Kenobi because
no.
Loki was a very sci-fi weird, so you had the weird instruments to it, but the score itself and the actual orchestral instruments were really well done. So I think she'll knock it.
Well, it's interesting because in the Vanity Fair interview where the official announcement was made, it makes it really clear that Natalie is a big time fan of the maestro, John Williams. She even says that John Williams narrated her childhood with movies like E.T., Jurassic Park, and of course, Star Wars. Sam, what kind of pressure is this to follow in the footsteps of your idol while scoring a series about one of Star Wars' most iconic characters?
No pressure. Like, geez. I mean, with Michael doing the soundtrack to Rogue One, it was it was a new set of characters. It was stressful because he was the first one to do something like that.
Absolutely. First outside of John Williams in the Star Wars.
But he did great. Funny enough, Nate and I talked about this and Solo, but a day or so ago. And then you have John Powell, who did soundtrack for Solo, a original trilogy character. Granted, John did compose the theme for that movie, but he did the rest of it, and he knocked that one out of the park too. And then you got Ludwig, who also, he's doing his own, it was his own story, and he took a very different turn on it, but it fit Star Wars. So far, it's been a very good track record, but this is no small feat by any means. But I don't think she should be super worried because people have done soundtracks for Star Wars, following up John Williams, and done well. Hearing her previous work, she's done great. So I think that she'll do great too. But it's certainly nerve-wracking.
Yeah. You know, Nate, one big revelation from the article is that John Williams specifically asked to write a theme for Obi-Wan Kenobi in the same way that he did for Han Solo with John Powell, like you were just talking about that. Holt actually said that Williams went straight to Kathleen Kennedy and said, "I just want to write Benny a theme."
He's on a nickname basis with Obi-Wan.
It seems like all of the legacy characters have been given an official theme now. Of all of those themes, BB Nate, in Star Wars, which one of those character themes is your favorite?
It's hard to choose one. I mean, it honestly is probably a tie between Han Solo, just because John did an amazing job with that, and Princess Leia because of the emotional connection with Carrie Fisher and everything. And that was just really, that I'll always remember them playing her theme, John playing the theme at Celebration 2017 to honor her. So yeah, it's a tie between those two, but John is just a genius. Mr. Williams is great.
It's tough to pick right now. I can't even pick up Luke's theme off the top of my head. I can't quite remember it.
It's kind of tied into the
Force theme. Yeah. It's really difficult to beat the Force theme, just because that is such a integral part of Star Wars. But I think Han's theme fits the character really well, at least the young version of character that we see in Solo. It's bolsterous, it's adventurous, it's big. So I think that one might be my favorite right now, just because I can't pick the Force theme because that's so like.
I mean, you can't forget Vader's.
No.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, that you can't get more iconic than that.
Yeah,
than that,
that's a good point. Or Emperor's theme too.
Yeah, absolutely.
The one I'm thinking of was in the original trilogy. I can't remember if that was just in the prequels or not. Right, but yeah.
Interestingly enough, Natalie Holt is a violinist, and she played and even sang on some of the tracks for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, cool.
The Loki theme seems to be much closer to what we expect from a Star Wars cinematic score than the very unusual and initially controversial soundtrack for The Mandalorian. Sam, do you think that the Obi-Wan Kenobi score will be much closer to what we think of when we think of Star Wars soundtracks than what we've experienced with Mandalorian and Ludwig?
I think it has to. And I think part of the reason is because the Star Wars soundtrack that we've come to know and love from the 9 films is largely associated with the Force, if you think about it. Rogue One's theme was a much more military soundtrack because it was a military story. Han Solo was an adventure film like Indiana Jones. Mandalorian was this it's hard to explain.
Kind of a western,
outer world sort of feel. But this one follows Obi-Wan Kenobi, an original trilogy character. He was also in the prequels and stuff too. I think it has to have a Star Wars soundtrack feel.
Yeah, I think it does. But I don't think that it should stray far off from her own style. I don't think that I'm sure that she will do whatever she wants, and I'm sure she'll make it great. But I think that she should make it her own, like Ludwig did, like Michael did, and like John Powell did.
Oh, I agree.
All of them did their own thing with Star Wars, and it was all amazing. And I think that she did her own thing with Loki, and it turned out to be an amazing theme for it. I mean, it was something that I remember staying for at the end of the credits each time, waiting for a post-credit scene and just enjoying the music that was playing during it. So I'm super excited to see what she does with this, and it will be fantastic, I'm sure.
You know, in the preparation for this, Natalie Holt said that she initially spent 2 very intensive days with Kenobi director Deborah Chow, actually going over footage, walking through the entire story, so she knew what was going to happen. One interesting nugget is when she says that Ewan McGregor, from what she's seen, is delivering a performance of a lifetime in this series. Final reaction on that? Hyper fact.
100% fact. I mean, this is a character that he's come out and said he loves playing before, and he gets to have a whole series dedicated to him doing whatever he wants with this character and making it who he wants to be as Obi-Wan Kenobi. And we have not had a main story following Kenobi in live action yet, or really even at all. Maybe a couple arcs in Clone Wars, but that was it. And so it's super exciting to see what Ewan's going to do with this. And of course, he's an amazing actor, and he's going to do a great job.
Yeah, I think Nathan hit it on the nose. This is one of his favorite characters. He's a phenomenal actor. And I mean, if you think about it, this show is a once in a lifetime opportunity. So he better give it his all, but I'm certain it's going to be great, and we can tell it's going to be an emotional story too. So he'll do well with that.
Sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. Obi-Wan Kenobi releases in 1 month.
Jeez.
And we'll be there at Star Wars Celebration when it releases with several tens of thousands of Star Wars fans.
That's crazy.
Which would be awesome. Hopefully we'll get a taste of Natalie Holt's score in an upcoming trailer, maybe on May the 4th. Maybe we'll get that or a promotional feature very soon. We'll have to wait and see.
Yes, we will.
All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Anything else?
Yeah, it seems that all the Tom Cruise, Tony Stark rumors were wrong.
Thank God.
Thank you, because that was stupid in the first place.
I can't imagine.
I hated it.
That would be a disaster.
That would be,
and now it'll happen because we said that. Anyway,
of course. Zack Snyder reveals that filming has begun on part 1 of Rebel Moon.
Are you excited about that?
Oh, super excited. The concept art and the little stuff he's released looks so good, and it's an original property, not based off of any books or anything, and I'm so excited to see what he does with this.
That's exciting. And again, we were already talking about him for a bit, but Ewan McGregor has been officially announced to attend Star Wars Celebration. Woo! So that's exciting. That's going to pretty much do it for this week. Our Friday episode is going to be with Quentin Brodnack from Project Nerd, and I'm not sure what we're going to end up talking about. We're recording a couple of days, so that'll be a lot of fun. Make sure you check out Newsly and get your free month to listen to that amazing audio first app that helps you stay up to date on all the news and articles out there. There's a code in the show notes for that, so check it out. And then again, the Star Wars Celebration meetup at Biggs Fullerton on Wednesday, May 25th, 2022, with all those amazing people coming out for the massive Bunta Eve Cantina thingamajig. Just come.
Shindig?
There's like, how many people did you say had already reserved for the Facebook group, the Facebook event?
Between going and interested in on Facebook, it's not total. It's like 987.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I think about 360 of that are like going.
Confirmed.
That's still insane.
That's going to be a lot of fun. You guys are going to want to be there. So make sure if you're in Celebration in Anaheim, be there for that. And that'll do it. Thank you so much for listening to Tatooine Sons, a pop culture podcast.
Yes. If you had a good time listening, it would be awesome if you could share this with your friends.
Awesome.
Wow. Yeah. Jeez. And of course, this show is only a small part of the Tatooine Sons world. So be sure to like us on Facebook and join our Facebook discussion group over there, and follow us on Twitter to get in on all of the action. And you can also keep up to date with everything we've got going on at TatooineSons.com.
Yeah. And don't forget to follow the show on your favorite podcast app. You can do it on Newsly, the app there, so you don't miss our next episode, and give us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever podcast app you prefer. We would definitely appreciate it. Anything else you amazing gentlemen would like to say?
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you, always.
This party's over.
I like that Wookiee.
Don't get technical with me.
Join, please.